Welcome back to the QA Ops channel. Today we're talking about environments in release cycles, what they are, why they exist, and how to design them so they actually support delivery instead of slowing everything down. Environments serve as quality gates in your delivery pipeline. They are to reduce risk, provide fast feedback, and separate test activities. Each environment answers a different question. Did my change break the code? Did it break integration with other systems? Is the release candidate stable enough to go live? If your production environment is the first place these questions are answered, you haven't built a release process. You aren't validating quality. You are simply deferring the cost of failure until it hits your customers. In most modern delivery pipelines, we usually operate with four core environments: development, integration, staging, and production. Each one has a distinct purpose, and mixing those purposes is where things start to break down. Before we even get to development, let's talk about ephemeral environments. Ephemeral environments are short-lived, on-demand environments. We use them to validate risky changes before they ever touch shared environments. They spin up, do their job, and disappear. Ephemeral environments reduce contention, increase parallelism, and shorten feedback loops dramatically. If multiple teams are fighting over the same environment, that's usually not a tooling problem. That's an architecture decision showing its age. Now first, local or development environments. Their purpose is speed and correctness. Here we run unit tests, component tests, and static code checks. Linting, security scans, formatting, complexity checks. This environment exists to catch problems before they even enter the pipeline. When CI finds what static analysis should have found, that's not quality engineering. That's delayed embarrassment. Next is the integration environment. This is where we build system confidence. Here we run API tests, contract tests, and limited end-to-end UI tests. Real services talk to each other. Databases exist. This environment answers a simple question: do the systems actually work together? Then we have staging or pre-production. Staging is about release validation. We run almost the same types of tests as in integration, but with much larger test suites. We test performance, configuration, reliability, and business scenarios. Most importantly, we test release candidates. Staging answers the question: is this version ready to become production? Now let's talk about production. Production exists for detection, not validation. Here we use synthetic tests, synthetic monitoring, canary releases, feature flags, and real-time observability. The goal is not to prove the system works. The goal is to detect when it stops working, fast, and limit blast radius when it does. Now let's talk about quality gates. Every environment should have clear entry and exit criteria. Entry criteria define when something is allowed into an environment. Exit criteria define when it is allowed to move forward. For example, CI entry might require clean builds and passing unit tests. Staging entry might require a signed release candidate and stable integration results. Production entry might require past business-critical flows and explicit risk acceptance. Quality gates turn pipelines from suggestion systems into decision systems. Now let's talk about observability. Environments without observability are just expensive guesswork. Every environment should expose logs, metrics, and traces. Test results should be connected to deployments. If a test fails and you can't tell why within minutes, the environment is failing, not the test. QA ops without observability is just automation theater. There are also some professional anti-patterns worth mentioning. Single environments overloaded with multiple purposes. Shared environments with unclear ownership, and environments that slowly drift away from production behavior. These patterns increase noise, reduce trust in test results, and slow down releases, even when automation coverage looks great on paper. Here's something you can apply immediately. In development, run tests in seconds or a few minutes. In CI, run tests mapped to changed code. In staging, run business-critical flows. And in production, run read-only synthetic tests. The closer you are to production, the fewer tests you run, but the higher their value. And remember, your job is not to add more environments. Your job is to make each environment purpose-driven, observable, and trustworthy. Environments are guardrails, pipelines are highways, production is still a cliff. Design accordingly. If you like this kind of QA ops content, subscribe for more.